Bonjour, my name is David DeVere. I'm a wine educator and traveler, and you're watching Savvy Nomad TV, the Eau de Vie edition. This is day 23 of the Costco Wine Advent box. Let's see what the box has got for us today. Okay, if you are new here and you don't know what we're doing, we are tasting these little bottles. Now, these little bottles used to fill this medium-sized box, but as you can tell, they're almost all gone. Just 23 and 24 left. Let's see what 23 is for us. That's easy to rip off. And inside, we have a red Cabernet Sauvignon from the Gold West Cape of South Africa. All right, let's taste this. All right, our Cabernet Sauvignon from the West Cape area of South Africa. Let's look at the label and see what it can tell us. Cabernet Sauvignon, South Africa, West Cape. That's the front. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. Turn it around to the back. You've got some tiny little marketing text. You can pretty much ignore most of that. Then you've got the vintage date, which is 2020, South Africa, red wine. Why they need to tell us that, I'm not sure. The bottle size, the percentage of alcohol, 13.7%. That can be plus or minus 1.5%. And then contains sulfites. All right. So there you go. That's it. That's everything in the bottle, right? I mean, it's on the label. It must be true. We've got Cabernet Sauvignon with sulfites in it. There you go. It's red. That's it. Not exactly. If it says a single variety on the label, that means that it is 75% or more of that single variety. Cabernet Sauvignon is generally blended. Merlot, Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc, Petit Syrah. These are all often blended in with Cabernet Sauvignon to make the wine better, okay? So 75% or more is Cabernet Sauvignon. The rest is something else. Very few producers make 100% Cabernet Sauvignon. I have had it, but it is rare. It's often a red blend. All right, so now we know it's not 100% Cabernet Sauvignon. What else do we know? Well, what about this scary ingredient on the back? Contains sulfites. What are those? Sulfites are preservatives. They are added into the wine at various points of either pre-fermentation or post-fermentation to help preserve the wine. It's antimicrobial, antibacterial. Sulfites are often produced in fermentation at about a level of 10 parts per million. That the little yeast guys are going to make those for the wine anyway. So all wines are kind of naturally antibacterial. And this was probably a great boon to ancient peoples because this thing took grapes, fermented it, turned it into this lovely little drink that makes you feel happy and relaxed, and it preserves the food. Wow, super. So sulfites are in here anyway. If you find a bottle that says no sulfites added, it doesn't mean it doesn't contain sulfites. It will probably still have to say contains sulfites because they're in there from the fermentation. That level is 10 parts per million. So that's the legal labeling law. Now, wine gets sulfites added in whites in greater quantities than reds. I know what you're thinking. People say, hey, I can't drink red wine. It gives me a sulfite headache. So I drink white wine. Well, that means it's not the sulfites. So you should really stop blaming them because it's not the white wine should give you a headache if it's the sulfites. The red wine shouldn't give you a headache. So what's going on? Well, wines have a lot of extra additives added in, food grade additives. And at lower quality levels in more bulk wines, the food grade additives are added more often to make the wine taste better, to kind of bulk it up, to make it be a more approachable product. Sugars are added, tannins are added, acids are added. There's this thing that is sold called super purple to make it more red. All of these things are added into lower grade wines to make them taste better than they are. So these things can create allergic reactions. Yes, sulfites can, and yes, sulfites are added, but the other food grade additives can also do this. And if you have an allergic reaction to wine, a stuffy nose, a flushed face, then you know that you're reacting probably not to the sulfites, but to the food grade additives. Now here's another way to think about this. Dried fruit, French fries, commercial loaf sandwich bread, they all have a magnitude of 10 times or more sulfites added than your average, even bulk wine does. So do those things give you headaches? Do those things make you have an allergic reaction? If not, if your McDonald's French fries don't give you an allergic reaction, you gotta stop blaming the sulfites. Should the liquor laws be changed to add more content labeling for wines rather than just contain sulfites? Yes. Do they add sulfites to European wines? Absolutely they do. Is the level of sulfites that you're going to find in a wine a natural level? Even in a wine they don't add it? Yep, it is. So stop blaming them. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Let's taste this cab. Okay, Cabernet Sauvignon from South Africa. 60 degrees, no problem. Can totally take that. What should you get out of Cabernet Sauvignon? The signature tell aroma from Cabernet Sauvignon that not everybody can get is green pepper. If you can smell green pepper, you have a genetic disposition to it. If you can't smell green pepper, well, that's a genetic disposition, I guess. It means you just can't smell it. Some people can't smell that aroma. But Cabernet Sauvignon can exhibit a green pepper aroma. What else can it exhibit? It can exhibit eucalyptus, cedar, blackberries, that sort of thing. It is a much loved grape variety around the world. It is one of the noble reds. It produces big, bold wines. It is often called king. Cab is king. But let's see how the South Africans have done today. I filled out the top of my card, and looking at the color of the cab, I'm going to say that is more purplish, and it is deep in color. Okay, let's smell it. I definitely get a fruit aroma. It smells nice and clean and cool. There's a little hint of vanilla, maybe licorice. That's what I get. It smells nice. It's not going to be particularly overly aromatic because it's a red wine. So I'm going to give it a 7 for aroma. Now let's taste it. Okay. It's dry. The acidity. It's fresh. It could be smooth, but I think it's fresh. It's got a nice ending acidity. We'll give it a 6. The balance. The alcohol, I don't notice it. That's good. The acids are fine. The tannins are small and smooth, slightly grippy, but not overly aggressive. And the sugars are fine. So the balance is good. I'm going to give it a 7. Flavors and depth. This is complexity. Now, I laughed when I first swallowed it because I got an additional aroma here, and that aroma was barnyard. I know. Ooh, a manure aroma, yay! But I did get that. Let's see if I get it again. Oh yeah, it's definitely barnyard. This is often an aroma associated with high-end Pinot Noir. It's not bad. It's earthiness. It's it's barnyard, but that's complexity. I do like it. I do like that it has some complexity. Multiple distinctive flavors. Yeah, okay, fine. I'll give it an 8. And finish in length. What do I get? It's a nice finish. It's longish. It's a little bit watery, but that's the acidity being a little high. It's making my salivary glands go. But the finish is nice. That barnyard thing is funny and interesting. It might change as the bottles open a little bit, but I kind of like it. I'm going to go with the long finish, and I think it's a 7. Okay, I'm going to go do my math. Okay, here are my final scores for our West Cape Cabernet Sauvignon. Aroma, 7. Acidity, 6. Balance, 7. Complexity, 8. Finish in length, 7. 35 points. 85 points in total. I like this wine. It's pretty funny that we get the barnyard aroma, or at least I did. Leave me a comment if you did. And let's see if Sarah can get that. She spends the time I film these in a different part of the house, so she doesn't actually hear or know what I score things, and then I move this sheet away so she can't see it, because I want her to be kind of, not be swayed by my opinions, have her own opinions, and let's see if she can smell that barnyard. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this episode, give me a thumbs up. And if you're new here and you haven't subscribed, then consider subscribing. I'm going to have more interesting content coming up after the Advent box. This is just my start of hopefully a long time here on YouTube. So if you enjoyed this, and then I say cheers to you. And for day 23, I say à toute l'heure, and I'll see you for the end of the box tomorrow. Cheers.
Cabernet Sauvignon. Oh, from South Africa. I wonder if that'll be big, jammy, and fruity. I shouldn't get my hopes up. Okay. Oh, that has a funny smell. It is jammy and fruity, but it's a tiny bit barnyard. Did you already notice that? I have not been listening. I have not been coached. Well, honestly, it's an off-putting scent, but I know it's not something that's bad. Okay, I'm going to try it. Well, it's the penultimate day of the wine box. That's all I have to say about that. Cheers.